aligning your chakras is very important. But this has 3D implications and meanings, not just spiritual meanings. And that's what I want to talk about today. First of all, thank you guys for joining me for another video. I'm Ann Blackwood, your Silicon Valley Sage Sister, here to bring consciousness to the forefront of your daily life to make life a little kinder and simpler. Now, I have this metaphor that I was just reminded of the other day, hearing someone else use it, that I wanted to talk about today when it comes to having your chakras aligned, clean, clear. And first of all, I want to talk about the fact that each of our chakras has emotions attached to them. So when I'm talking about having stable chakras, clean, clear chakras, this also is attached to your mental health and your mindset, not just a spiritual, meditative cleansing and clearing, but also a very practical 3D mindset work, mental health, self-care association as well. So I want to give you this metaphor. Imagine with me for a moment that we are a clean, clear channel. That's how we start off anyway. So we're like a tube, cylinder. That's the word. We are a clean, clear cylinder. We're like a pipe that has nothing in it. And we have points along this pipe, including the opening at each end, where a glass filter can get put in. And when that glass filter gets put in, that allows debris to get stuck on either side of it. I don't know if you've ever seen dust get stuck to both sides of a piece of glass. It's definitely always easier for debris to get stuck on top of something than the bottom. But we get debris stuck to both sides. We get dirt and dust stuck to both sides. So you've got this tube. And then as you get blocks in your chakras, both spiritually as well as emotionally, physically, you have these filters. And so if you know anything about the way a filter would work on a camera or a filter would work on light, you know, as you get more and more of these glass lenses, basically, in each of your chakra points, rather than having it be a clean, clear channel, not only is it going to be harder for the light to go through either direction, but the light is going to get darker and darker and darker the more these different colors add up. So the more you're able to clear out each of these filters, each of these lenses, the more the light has a clean, clear channel to move through. This is a lot of what I do with my clients when they don't come to me with something specific to work on that they just know is what's first. Because we're human beings who don't always understand just how easy it is for us to get hung up in one place and how that blocks everything else. Which is why it's so important to be aware of ourselves, of our mind, of our thoughts, of how we move through the world. our values, boundaries, and priorities. This is why this has consistently been from the first version of my intuitive lifestyle course to the most recent, and why I talk about it all the time, because it's how we move through the world. It's how we navigate through the world. What our values are tells us what our priorities need to be, which tells us what our boundaries need to be. And when we don't have that map to tell us how to move through the world in a conscious way, we just kind of take on other people's values, belief systems, and therefore priorities and boundaries. We do this with our parents. Oh my goodness, if I had a dime for all of the priorities that I set for myself as a teenager, I could have saved myself a lot of heartache had I just not had a particular priority that I was holding on to because of my parents. I look back on I had just turned 18. Like literally, it was the weekend of my birthday when I turned 18. And the decision I made over that weekend permanently changed my life forever. Permanently changed my life forever. All because I was holding on to a single priority of it was important for me to have a job. And I had a job interview. And I needed to take that job. And because of that, I wound up, I wouldn't say in a bad way, because I'm here now and life is amazing, but because of that one priority, had I not had that priority, I would have been able to let that job go, knowing that there were other jobs available. Had I not had that priority, I wouldn't have felt like getting a job in that moment was so important. And I could have allowed myself time to heal rather than push forward. Had I recognized that this was something that was going on, life would have been very, very different for me. And I'm grateful that it wasn't, to be perfectly honest, because all of the tumultuous crap that I went through to get me to that point, because it wasn't just the priority, let's put it this way, and this is how these things layer. It wasn't just that one priority that got me there. You know, I talk about how I went to Nepal for a month and how that just absolutely destroyed me. What was supposed to be an amazing trip with other high school students, going to the highest high school in the Himalayan mountains, or the highest school in the Himalayan mountains, and making a documentary about it, that was supposed to be an amazing month full of adventure and new experiences as a 17-year-old. And it just crushed me into the ground. And no matter how hard I tried to use the tools I had at my disposal at the time, because I had many even then, I wasn't strong enough. And that's okay, because that was, I guess, the spiritual contract I had signed before coming to Earth, in that sense, that was the way my life was supposed to go. But you can start seeing how all of these little things start to add up to decisions we make. So it's, again, not just about the spiritual ramifications and the spiritual aspect of it, which that is very important when it comes to having our spiritual body, which is attached to our physical body, clean and clear as well. You know, spiritual hygiene is very important. But why it's important is because it connects to our physical life. They're all attached. They're all the yin yang that are truly what make or break us. The more we can make sure that we have these tools before we need them, rather than after, the better, the easier, more easy, the better, the more easy, the happier, the healthier. And really, the healthier, the happier. Because when all the human systems are healthy, that's when happiness comes naturally. Life will be. So, each time we can take one of these lenses we've stuck in our channel out, the easier life gets, that more healthy life gets, the happier you will be in life. And this is why in the Karo tradition, we refer to it as Sami and Hucha energy, where it's not good or bad, right or wrong, negative or positive. It's free flowing versus dense. I am going to be filming a chakra clearing meditation for Patreon. So if you would like to, based on this video, check out my chakra clearing meditation, that will be available to all tiers over on Patreon, which you can check out over in the description below. Thank you guys for joining me for another video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, like button stuff, all that 3D stuff. Checking out the links in the description. I've got Patreon, where I've got journal exercises, guided meditations, courses, mini courses, workshops, one-off videos, all sorts of amazing, I hate to call it content, but content that I have created and cataloged over on Patreon for the last 2 years. I've got my one-on-one sessions still available. Books are still open. So if you would like to work with me one-on-one, end those cycles of suffering by developing the tools, skills, and habits that you need before you need them, you can either sign up for a free clarity call, or you can email me, or if you know you're really ready right now, you can sign up for one of my session packages, which commits you to a certain amount of sessions based on which package that you choose. And then we personalize to you how often we work together and what we work on. And last, but of course not least, may the energies you serve you well, and let's keep making our way through.